Hello on the planet and beyond. This is Shadi of Between Here and There, a Thrive-based consulting business surrounding global hygiene and applications of information technology. And today we're going to get into some details of hiking, right? So, so that's why I have my hat on, and I'm going to go over the clothing, your packing materials, and your pack, of course. Okay, so first things first, when you go hiking, ensure that it's at least one other person with you. I know you're feeling adventurous and you can't really find anybody to go on this hiking trip with you. Reach out to other organizations through like meetups, through Eventbrite, things like that to see who else has interest in hiking, because the thing with being out in the garden, being out in nature, is that even though you can surround yourself with, I guess, defensive tools while you're hiking, you still don't have a complete view 360 degrees. A person could easily track you in the wood line, and so therefore having a second person there, you can ward off and defend any type of assailant, okay? And so that part is very important when it comes to your safety while enjoying your adventure. So, minimum of two people. I like three. Three is a good number to start out. Having two other people with me during my hiking trails, okay? And so with weather, you want to check the weather of what it's going to look like throughout your trail time frame, okay? Because you can get a quick route in. However, you don't want to be out in the elements when that time comes, whether it be sleet, snow, rain, hail, etc. So checking the weather, and then also seeing what, if there is a information desk, go to the information desk of that trail, get a map, get other information that you can secure before you go on your trail. Information such as, has there been any sightings of dangerous animals like bobcats, snakes, etc.? Has there been a lot of activity on the trail? This also is a deterrent for animals because they don't really want to interact with us, right? Unless you're doing a Snow White type of deal. They don't really want to interact with us. So if the trail has been hiked quite frequently, there's going to be a lower number of animals that are going to present themselves along your trail. Okay. And with weather, think about this changing seasons. Okay. So during the autumn and fall months, we're going into a hibernation phase. With the hibernation phase, the animals are going into hibernation. And so therefore they're not as prevalent and as present as animals during the spring and summer months when it's mating season, when snakes are coming out on top of rocks to bathe because they're cold water and blood. That's probably where I made that connection. However, they're cold-blooded animals, and so therefore they are attracted to that heat, and so they'll come out, birds perch, slither. They slither onto rocks and they soak up the sun rays, get that warmth. So be aware of these things. You can hike throughout the entire year. However, these are some things to be aware of when you're hiking, things to look out for, like if there's any like rock formations that have some sort of type of cave. There's probably going to be an animal, fairly large animal, that's marked that as its territory, and so you want to avoid going into those spaces. There's opportunities for you to enter caves and other structures. However, again, you want to know the frequency of other humans going there, as well as what is it used for. Okay, so. And I always keep my notes because there's always a lot of information and I'm like, I can rattle things off. However, I want to stay in alignment as well as ensuring that I get you all the information as possible. Okay. And yeah, so I do have mating season. So the spring and summertime, Things are active in the waters, on land, in the air. Okay. So, yeah, trail sightings. Communicate with locals. So, if you go to the information desk, get information, get your maps, get the what's been happening quite frequently to your time of travel, your movement on the trail. But when you're along the trail and you see people, ensure that you ask, like, hello, hope it's going well, you're enjoying the trail, have you seen anything to look out for. Usually normal like trail etiquette is to express these things, like, hey, I saw this, a few miles up the road, like, be aware, things like that. When it comes to hikers, usually, hikers, I've always had very friendly hikers that express certain things or maybe ask me about my gear or things of that sort. Etiquette. When it comes to etiquette, leave the space how it was, okay? And so, yes, you're hiking, yes, you're kicking up dirt and moving things. Those are natural parts to the hiking experience. However, don't intentionally start to pull on plants and trees and things like that unless you're doing a foraging type method. And with a foraging type method, I always lean on the side of how a lot of natives, and that be Native American, Native Africans, Native Spanish people, a lot of native people still stick to certain principles when it comes to taking from the environment, taking in a way that doesn't impede on it. Okay, so if there's a specific plant that you're looking at, like, okay, I want to harvest the leaves from this plant, I want to harvest the bark, please do your research in a way. Do your research so you understand what are the ways for you to extract those plant materials without damaging the plant. Okay, so some of the things could be, if you're scraping off bark, ensure that you're not scraping past the Precambrian layer. So the bark is on the exterior, and then you have the Precambrian and the Cambrian layer, and that's going further into the tree. And so if you're shaving off the bark, just ensure that you're shaving the bark and it's in a place that's not close to the roots. I would say kind of midway up the trunk is usually kind of a good rule of thumb. And don't completely secure, like, do a 360 around it, because it doesn't allow the plant to be secure when it comes to the elements. Okay, so when it rains, that water is going to be splashing up, causing bacteria and other issues. Okay, so because I know I get into this thing, so I'm gonna give us a moment to recap before we go into hiking techniques and preparation right before you go on your hiking adventure. Okay, minimum of 2 people. Why? Because I want you safe. Okay, weather conditions, preparing for those, having things to be prepared for those weather conditions. Understand what is the distance that you are going to be hiking. Usually on maintained trails, there's always multiple routes. So if you want to do a 1 mile route, 3 miles, 6 miles, 9 miles, there are routes that you can take that will be identified with markers. Okay, sometimes those are markers in the ground that let you know, okay, you're on the green trail, you're on the blue trail. Some of the other markers are painted dots midway up a tree. So your yellow dot, your red dot, so you know, okay, I'm still on the exact same trail. I need to follow this path all the way through and turn around. Okay, so, okay, it is the day of your hiking trip, and please watch this before you go. Okay, like, watch this like 3 days before you go at least, so you're ready. Okay, so for breakfast, I would say do something like a starch, potatoes if you want to boil or bake some potatoes. If you want to do a spaghetti without a whole lot of like sauce, you're doing it more for the carbohydrate aspect, or granola. Okay, and the reasons for this is you want to be satiated during your hiking adventure, as well as using the restroom. Okay, That's something that we have to be aware of when it comes to hiking long distances. You need to have in mind that you will potentially be using the restroom in the elements. And so, therefore, you don't want to consume something that's going to make things flow a little smoothly, okay? You want to be comfortable in during that trip. And so I say consume those things that are going to satiate the body, slow it to break down, as well as fill you up. Okay. So making sure you get proper rest and you're properly hydrated prior to the hiking trip. Okay. Your clothing. Okay. So this is, I have a lot of these tops. I got at least like 18 of these. I love them. I got them super cheap. And they're moisture wicking. I'm not a fan of nylon or polyester. However, when it comes to any type of activity in which I sweat, this is definitely a necessity. Okay, so I like to wear another jacket on top of this, also like moisture wicking. That way, when I'm maneuvering through things, and I'm it's looking like low crawling. We're not low crawling, but when I'm maneuvering through things, branches, my arms are protected, as well as when I sweat, the sweat is allowed to escape and roll into different directions versus staying within my clothes and bringing my body temperature down. Now, that could definitely be a good thing when it comes to hot weather, okay? So wearing a cotton material when it's very hot, this sweat that is released is sitting in that cotton material and is allowing the body to actually cool down. So that could be a benefit. So figure out what is going to be the best match for your top when it comes to your weather, the weather that you're going to be experiencing. Okay. Having a cloth or a rag of some sort. And so this is to, wipe the sweat out your eyes if you have to wipe something off. Having just a cloth, a piece of like cotton or moisture wicking material would be great to have in pocket, okay? Which I have as the front load part of your packing list before we get to the actual pack, okay? Cover your head cover, okay? So there's different things that, bushes you might have to duck under and maneuvering. Protecting your hair is just preventing, additional things from being in it by any chance. So I like to wear like a hat or something like this. When it gets really cold, I prefer like a beanie of some sort. And that like a wool beanie, because when it comes time to wear beanies, I like that material. So it keeps the heat inside the head as well as protecting from different twigs and bushes and such. Okay, so we talked about the top. Also, earrings. Wear like a stud type of earring. You don't want things to be caught. I know it's kind of sounding like, oh, bushes are all around me. However, you just want to be prepared if you want to check out something else, okay? Because I'm always searching for the water source. Definitely a person chasing waterfalls, okay? So when I see there's a body of water, I'm going to want to get to it. And so that might call for me climbing up the side of the rock or maneuvering through this area or whatnot. And so therefore, if I have things that are less able to be attached to something else, I can maneuver smoothly through those crevices. Okay. And so pants. So I have on a pair of stretch pants. Let's see. However, right. However, see, these are so close to the skin. Look like I got a belly. I don't got no belly. Maybe a little bloated. But yeah, so pants like this I don't really prefer, because if something scratches, it could just, tear the material and could scratch my skin as well. So I could probably get a potential web. I think that like cargo like pants, or like if you go to trying to think of what kind of like army resupply. You can go to places like that and get old like army fatigues, especially the like desert and camo type prints. Those prints are have been cycled out, and so therefore you can wear those as a civilian. You don't have to be a military member to purchase them, and so you can get those old pants pretty cheap, and you can actually put them over top of these if you're doing hiking in the autumn and winter months, because it won't be as irritating, because when it's hot, you want to wear less clothes. However, if you look at people that live in these desert areas, they actually wear a lot more clothing. But however, it's loose fitting and it's light clothing. So now you know. Okay. So cover head, makeup. So I say little to no makeup, only because you're going to sweat, and sometimes you're not even going to realize, like, oh no, I'm just going to hike a little bit and I'm going to go slow. No, you're out in the elements. You are probably going to sweat. So ladies, maybe gents, wear makeup, right? Yes, you can wear it. However, think about the effects. Okay, you're going to sweat, so therefore maybe not such a heavy foundation. Maybe doing just concealing certain imperfections or impurities, that have come out the skin. That is totally fine. However, don't wear a lot of it, because you're going to be sweating and wiping, and eventually it's going to you're going to saturate that cloth, which could be used for other things as well. Okay, and so shoes. Make sure the shoes that you're wearing cover the ankle. Okay, I didn't put these on, but these are one pair of my hiking boots, right? And so as you see, it comes up the ankle. Okay, low cuts, no cut. Okay, you need it to cover your ankle. I actually like them to be a little bit further, which I did have some military issue boots that I no longer have. They've been left in Washington State, guys. However, those boots are really good for maneuvering when you're hiking. Now, you might think, oh, I'm gonna walk carefully, I'm not gonna roll my ankle, I wear walking shoes. You're gonna be walking over twigs, roots, stones, bricks, whatever. Ensure that your ankle is secure, and that's how you do it, by wearing ankle stabilizing shoes. Okay, and with those shoes you want socks that are crew socks or higher. So some long socks, and I like cotton socks. I'm not gonna show you my socks, that's kind of weird. Cotton socks. You can also use moisture wicking. I personally like cotton. Pack in your bag at least an additional pair of socks. Place them into a plastic or a waterproof container, because throughout your journey, especially if you're going long distances or you sweat a lot in your feet, throughout your trip, you're going to want to switch out those socks, because the foot is going to it's going to hold a lot of moisture, and then you're going to have blistering that's going to occur, because your shoes are already rubbing, the feet's becoming moist, the skin is going to start to loosen and pull away from the foot. Okay? So, all right, backpacking. So these are some different types of packs. Now, this one is my favorite. Why? Because there's so many pockets. Actually, let me not zip them up. Let me show you why I love this pack. And I need to find out like the model. I know it's a Camelback product. So here's the pack. It's slender. It literally fits in the middle of my back. I hope y'all can see that. So there's a little front pack, I like that I can easily access things. I don't suggest really using this while you're on a trail maneuvering around too much. If you're going to be crawling or, doing anything other than walking, because you don't want these things to be dislodged and you lose them and you don't know where things are. Then I have this other pocket, this one, and then this one in the back. Now this Camelback pack came with a Camelback. However, the Camel bladder was leaking, and so therefore I no longer use it. I've removed it. I could get another one and place it in here, and that's going to hold my water. Okay, I do prefer the Camelback type system of water because it's how it's inserted. It's close to the body. It's a vertical design, so when the water is sloshing around, it doesn't have that much of a distance to move if it's moving back and forth here versus up and down. And so that's also important if you decide to use, say, like a water bottle or some sort. I always say place the water bottle vertically in the bag versus horizontal, because unless the water is filled and sealed, the water is going to start sloshing and you're going to get a lot of that movement. And unless you're a person that enjoys that movement, it's not going to be enjoyable. Okay. And I say water, water, and more water, because you don't realize how much you really need during a hiking venture. As well as you think, oh man, it's a lot of weight. Well, guess what? When you drink it, that weight is gone. That's why when you go to certain military schools where hiking or backpacking is a part of the evaluation process, they do not allow you to pack. Like the water weight isn't calculated into the final weight for that reason, because you could just drink it and you're not carrying that weight around. Okay, so this is my favorite again, and then I also enjoy this piece. Oh, it's gone. Well, there's a piece here, which I have a lot of these and these to repair it. So it's a strap across that allows, once you have it on, it allows a strap to come across here to pull the weight into the center of gravity and makes it feel a lot less weight. Okay. And then this is my second pack. I like ones that could be I can fold it, throw it in something if I have to pack it up. And it's I got this because it had a similar design. However, it doesn't have as many compartments and it's quite wide on my back. Right? You don't want your pack to go past your shoulder blades. Actually, you don't want it to go past about right here, past the small of your back and up. Excuse me. You don't want it to go that far. Now, if you have a rucksack, the frame is going to sit in the small of your back. The additional packaging in which the rucksack is attached to the frame will be wider, and that's okay. But the frame, you want it close to your body so you're able to carry that weight. Okay? Speaking of weight, you always want to try to pack light. However, when you do pack, ensure that light weight items are in the lower portion of your pack. Your heavyweight items, you want to put them close to the top, because over time, gravity is just going to pull things down and you're going to feel like, oh, this is heavy. It's going to feel like a burden to carry. Versus putting those heavy items up top, you won't even really feel how heavy those things are when the weight is distributed to the top of your pack. Okay. With that, ensure that the items that you need to readily access to have access to are at the top. Okay, so you can quickly go into your pack. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom to reach those items. The items that you're probably not really going to need, pack those here. So lightweight items I would probably pack in this pack would be like a hammock, right? I'm probably during my hiking trail, I'm not going to pull out a hammock and chill. However, I bring it with me just in case, because that's a nice scenery. You put up your hammock, you're looking over the water, you're enjoying whatever you're enjoying, right? At the bottom. Versus my water, if I have water bottles, snacks, etc., I'm putting it closer to the top, even though snacks aren't heavy in weight, okay? So, and yeah, so brands, Camelback and REI. All right, those are like my top two favorite brands for these type of pack products. However, do your research, see what you like and what fits for you. So when you go into REI, you can, just check out some things. Things are priced pretty, it's an basically they made themselves an elite outdoor recreational service center, and so therefore their pricing reflects that. You could go to other vendors, whether that be through online. I don't really suggest online because of, transportation and the pollution that comes with that. So there are some that are already in stores like Target, Walmart, other like Dick's Sporting Goods and things of that nature, that you can go in and try on the packs and see which one fits best for your personality and what you're looking for in a pack. So, okay. I think we covered all of that. Now, your actual packing list. Okay. Take out, if you haven't taken out notes, which I always suggest, take some notes out. You never know what you're going to learn. Okay. For your packing list, water, and plenty of it. Okay. You're not going to regret it. Okay. You're not going to regret the amount of water that you bring. Just ensure that it can be sealed back properly. That's the most important part. Okay. The weight of it will be lost in transit because you're consuming it. Sun protection for individuals that have sun, their skin isn't equipped for high amounts of insolation, incoming solar radiation. Okay. If not a layer of skin protection is in the form of whatever cream or liquid, you can also wear like a wide brim hat. I actually have one, but I didn't bring it here for this demonstration. A wide brim hat would keep the sun from beaming directly onto your face and a little bit of your skin. A little, not a 360, maybe more like a 36 degrees, something. It'll cover some of what you need cover, as well as when you're hiking in a more densely wooded area, more trees populated throughout, you're going to have less of the sun rays penetrating down to the surface, which would reach you. Food, I would say nuts, seeds, and fruit. Okay, and so with fruit, there's only a few fruits that you don't completely consume, even though there's been times where I've completed the entire, like tangerine or nectarine. I've eaten the skin as well. On average, a lot of people don't consume the skin. I suggest that you put it in like a little bag and keep it in your pack. So when you're at the end of the trail, you can throw it in the trash can or some other sort of bio degradable compost type of system. You could, and you're not getting this from me, even though I'm saying it, okay? You could throw those things into the wood line. It really just depends on where you're hiking and what their rules and regulations are. Because actually, I take that back. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. And the reasons being is you're going to attract animals onto that trail. Even if you feel like you're flinging it out far, you don't know exactly where the bed down locations of these animals are. So if they're smelling food, they're going to come out and be more attracted to where the food is coming from. So those fruits are like bananas, citrus fruits. I've even seen people like peel apples. That's interesting, but okay. Just pack those things up in like a plastic container and put it back into your pack to dispose of when you're finished with the trail. Again, leave things like you found them. So with nuts and seeds, it's just easy to pop in your mouth. I have some sort of trail mix. That's where that term comes from. Something to be able to pop in your mouth and enjoy, and not have too many stressors when it comes to excrement. You needing to use the restroom. Okay, so that keeps those things to a minimum. When you start getting into like whole meals and lasagna and burgers, you're eventually going to have to remove that waste. And if you're far out, you're 9 miles on a trail, and it's not a trail that's manned, or there's like restrooms along the trail, you're going to have to go into the wood line. Okay, so and with that, ensuring that you have tissue. Okay, and also placing a tissue in a sealable, waterproof baggie. Hand sanitizer with it. Could be its own little compartment. I also bring a portable dish, which is technically it's not really a dish. It's like a bidet. It was listed as a portable dish, but it's a bidet. A dish is actually inserted inside. A bidet is external. Okay, so a portable bidet with water in it that is only for that. Okay. It's one of those days, you all, okay? So a portable bidet so you can wash up after yourself and continue mission, okay? So a first aid kit. And so in the first aid kit, these are some of the things I want you to keep in mind and add to your first aid kit, okay? So anything that stops blood, okay? So gauze, especially a tourniquet. For some reason, it gets to that point, having a tourniquet is definitely life-saving. Okay, and I think I'm going to need to do a separate video specifically for tourniquets, how to apply them, when to apply them, and what are the reasons why a tourniquet would need to be applied. But stopping blood is very important. The blood and water correlation that I made earlier is for that reason, because when blood starts to flow, it's like water. Okay, it's hard to stop, and you need to have the appropriate tools to ensure that you stop that flow. Okay. Poison remedies. Okay. So again, I mentioned like long sleeve pants, high ankle shoes. So if you're walking through the wood line and there's some sort of poison, flora, sometimes even fauna, that could potentially attack you, ensure that you have things to address those bites, rashes, or whatnot. Okay. And a splint device. Okay. A splint device will be used if you actually completely like roll your ankle. If you can splint the ankle and secure it, the person could be able to hobble back with your assistance. Again, more than one person. Hobble back with your assistance to get back to your vehicle, to get them to a facility to get help. Okay. A navigation tool. Okay. So at the beginning, I mentioned getting the map for the trail. Okay. So every trail is different. So there's going to be some local maps there. I also suggest looking on websites and other things people have posted prior to your trip to get yourself a little bit of like situational awareness of the trail that you're going to be on. This will help you navigate it more effectively. Okay, so a trail map and a compass. Okay, you can also bring like an overall map. For some reason, you have to get off the trail and move about into the city. You know how to maneuver. Okay, and I always keep a compass on me. Know how to use a compass before you get there, please. And I also like to keep binoculars. Okay, these are some things I like to have in my pack. Charge your phone before you leave, as well as bringing some sort of recharging device. Okay, a knife or a multi-tool. So here I have this knife. I actually have a multi-tool somewhere, which I need to see where exactly that is. Yeah, that's going to be on my list. So, should we recap? I think we should recap some of these things. Now, hiking is a wonderful experience. To me, it is a return back to nature, return back to the garden, which we originally come from. Adam and Eve, that story, no matter what religious affiliation that you're a part of, I do believe that everything starts in nature, and that's a way for us to really get in contact with our higher power, whatever yours is named, okay? And so when you're going on these hiking trails, it's best to be prepared for these different things, because on a day to day we're not really, we're outside, but we're not outside. We're usually under a roof, which is also which also stops sunlight. Like solar insulation doesn't come all the way through. UV rays are very low inside, so there are different barriers that we come in contact with being inside versus outside. And so I want you to be best prepared for this, and so that you're able to enjoy it. Okay, so I will have for people in the local area, I want to bring people together to be able to go on these hiking trails, these hiking trips. There are some groups that actually I'll probably, if you want to know, you want to know. If you know, we'll figure that part out. Okay. There are some groups, again, meetups, Eventbrite, maybe some Facebook groups that you can start to make contact with, so you're able to go on these trips with people that are knowledgeable, some people that maybe are beginners, intermediate people, to be able to go out and enjoy, because it's a beautiful experience year round. The best hiking trails that I've been on have been between Arizona and Washington State. I really enjoyed Washington State because most people walk around like they're ready to hike, and it's easy to access trails that you can hike and enjoy, and it's not as many restrictions. In Arizona, I enjoyed hiking because looking from afar, it just seems like these hills and mountains were just desolate. Like really no plant life there. It just seemed like nothing was moving. However, as we hiked up the trail, we started to enter into what felt like an entirely different biome. Like it was like snow. However, there was like a river of water coming through. There was different, like, they look like deer and these other bunnies, other different insects. It was just really amazing. I was just like, wow, I had no idea. Up until that point, I hadn't hiked a mountain. That was my first experience, and it's forever memorable because now it's fueled my passion to chase waterfalls. So yeah, that's I will hike any distance if I know there's a waterfall there. Oh, we getting it. So I think that's it. I didn't want this to be super long, but I wanted to give you all the information possible about hiking. I feel like I've prepared you well enough to go on your first hiking experience. Be sure when you come back, do your after action review of hey, these are the things I like, these are the things I didn't like, things I can improve on to ensure the next trip is even better. Okay? So I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here for Hiking Techniques with Between Here and There. Like, share, subscribe. Share this with friends and family that either you would like for them to go on a hiking trip with you. You're trying to get people together and they're just a little apprehensive. Send this to them so that way they are prepared for this wonderful adventure. All right? Love y'all. Talk to you later. Oh yeah, look, with hiking, okay? Understand that there are different rules and regulations for where you go, okay? So ensure that you plan accordingly. Some places have a strict time in which they want you to be off the trail. So backwards plan. So if you know you're hiking for 3 miles, it's assessed to take an hour. It shouldn't take an hour, but it's assessed to take an hour for your 3 mile trip. Plan for, I would say, double, about three, almost 2.6 times that amount of time. Okay, almost 3 times that amount, so that you're able to come back relaxed, and you're not rushing back off the trail because either you have to hit a specific time or at dusk the trail is closing down. Okay, because it's not they're not going to come out on the trail and find you. It's just not going to happen. They're going to close the gates, and then you might get something put on your vehicle that it shouldn't be here, something of that sort. But it's going to hinder you from being able to maneuver because you could be inside of like an encasement, because the trail could be encased and you're not able to maneuver because your vehicle is behind that barrier. Okay, so be aware of that. That's very important. Some people kind of forget that portion. And I think that's it. Okay, later.